Hey everyone, finished watching the next Dino Thunder episode, A Star is Torn, and that's kind of a weird title that doesn't really relate to the focus of... Then again, this episode doesn't really have a focus, it's just kind of all over the place. So, Haley and Connor are doing some kind of experiment with the Shield of Triumph. Ethan, meanwhile, is getting into online dating. Kira gets a chance from a music producer to record a music video. Back at the lab, Haley tells Connor and Ethan that she needs some technical doohickey. At the island fortress, Elsa informs Mesagog that Haley ordered something from Anton Mercer's supply company, which just feels like I don't know, this whole conversation just feels like I tuned in to watch Power Rangers and they're talking about doing taxes. Mesagog doesn't know what Haley ordered or why she wants it, but he suspects it must be for the Rangers. He sends out Elsa and Zeltrax with the Tyrannodrones. Elsa disappears for pretty much the rest of this episode, so I don't know why he bothered sending her. I don't know, maybe she had to go to school and do her job. Kira makes it to the recording studio and meets with an executive, Eddie. Meanwhile, Connor and Ethan pick up a crate containing Haley's part from a warehouse. As they're leaving, Tyrannodrones attack. Connor and Ethan utilize their civilian powers for, I think, only the second or third time in the whole show. It's completely inconsequential. This could have been like any other fight, but for some reason, someone remembered, oh yeah, civilian powers. We should probably use that. They fight off the Tyrannodrones and take the part to Haley. Kira is still with the executive. He wants her to dress in this elaborate gothic outfit. Kira isn't thrilled with it, but humors him. She isn't pleased either when he has her listen to a remix of her music. Her acoustic guitar, I'm assuming, music is now techno. And, like, it's not bad, but yeah, you can definitely tell this is far off from what her typical music style is as established from previous episodes. Kira goes outside and meets some young girls who want her autograph even though they don't know who she is. This is kind of a big scene, and I don't really know why it's here. These girls never come back. Nothing the girls say helps Kira to make up her mind about anything here. It's just weird. At the lab, Ethan is back on the dating site. Meanwhile, at Haley's cyberspace, Cassidy is also getting really into something on the computer. Zeltrax has created a flying something or other that just kind of comes right out of nowhere. Maybe he got it from the same place Zergain gets all of his Megazords. Kira gets to the lab and asks the others their thoughts on a music video that she shot with Eddie, the music executive. Connor tells her, it's just not you. And Kira's like, yeah, I thought that. And then suddenly the Rangers detect Zeltrax's flying thingamajig. They go to fight it, but run into a giant centipede thing that separates from Zeltrax's flying thingy. Tommy joins the fight, and the centipede thing turns into a bunch of flying things that kind of look like the Magnivore jet fighters from Beetleborgs. Brachiozord is knocked over, and no one cares because it's useless. Kira and Ethan give Connor their power so he can power up to Triassic mode, and I didn't realize that them contributing energy to activate Triassic mode was a thing they had to do each time. Like, the way Tommy described it last episode, it sounded like it was kind of a one-time thing, and then Connor could just power up to this whenever he wanted. But I guess not. Connor battles a centipede thing, but gets knocked away. Haley sends in some new Zords just in time, and these are the experiments she was doing with Connor at the beginning of the episode. This is some kind of new Zord that he can only control when in the Triassic mode because, With the new Zord, Connor defeats the centipede monster. Tommy fights Zeltrax because, of course, Tommy and Zeltrax have to have a fight. At least the trippy setting is unique. Tommy dodges Zeltrax, causing Zeltrax to destroy his own control console and destroy his flying thing. Probably for the best. This thing was a flying death trap. This was going to happen at one point or another if hitting the control console causes the entire thing to just self-destruct. So the Rangers for 2 seconds think Tommy is dead, but no, Tommy's fine. But Zeltrax is dead, asterisk, no he isn't. The next day, Kira tells the others she's not going to let someone else tell her how to dress or act. Ethan tells the others he's meeting with his online date, and it turns out it's Cassidy. Doesn't really go anywhere. Kira puts on a concert and performs her song the way she wants. No elaborate costume, no techno or special effects, just her and her personality. She's held her integrity. I'm split on this episode. On the one hand, this episode does exactly what I said that Diva in Distress should have done, showing both sides of the music, the overproduced side and the personal side. Regardless of your opinion on either piece of music presented, it's clear which piece of music Kira's heart is truly in. Besides Kira's story, there's a few other stories going on. Ethan is obsessed with an online dating site, and in the end, it's revealed Cassidy was the date talking with him. And I'm not sure if this relationship continues. I don't recall any meaningful interaction between them after this. And I remember at the end, there's a weird thing with Cassidy and Devin getting into a relationship, which I didn't like, and that's why I remember that. Haley is trying to activate a new Zord that can only be piloted by Connor in his Triassic mode. This is the weirdest story. Not in concept, but in execution. Connor, touching a charged Shield of Triumph is somehow supposed to do something. Then she needs a technobabble whatchamacallit, and then comes the odd part. Haley appears to send Connor and Ethan to get the part she needs, but then Elsa and Zeltrax reveal that she ordered the part. Then we see Connor and Ethan at a warehouse picking up the part in person, and this is just really weird because the way they say ordered the part makes it sound like it's gonna be like packed up and mailed to her. I don't know, maybe this is like something in New Zealand. Maybe this is a New Zealand thing, but like I live in the US, this is supposed to take place in California, and usually when you order like say a car part, this is kind of what that is. It comes from a warehouse that's nowhere near where you are. You can't just drive there. Or in Connor Ethan's case, it kind of looks like they just walk there. I'm probably the only one in the world who thought this deep about it. The writers probably weren't thinking deep about it. It was just stuff that happened in the episode. Moving on, there's a scene at the beginning where Cassidy mentions Hilary Duff, who was in the Disney show Lizzie McGuire, which I remember airing on the same Saturday morning block as Dino Thunder. Eddie, the executive Kira meets with, is played by Kelson Henderson, who will go on to play several far more notable characters in future seasons, including SPD's Boom, Mystic Force's Phineas, Operation Overdrive's Norg and Mig, Jungle Fury's Flit, RPM's Satbot, Ninja Steel's Mick, kind of interesting, he played both Mig and Mick, and Beast Morpher's Cruz most recently. Kylie Stiles from Diva in Distress gets a mention, which is a nice little nod to continuity, especially considering these are both Kira-focused episodes, or at least this really should be a Kira-focused episode, but Connor's the one who saves the day with his Triassic mode and dumb new Zord, so he has to have focus shoved in. Zeltrax's arsenal just kind of comes out of nowhere. He does say it's repurposed from some previous thing they had, but I don't remember what it was. The centipede that detaches from the flying thing, he never makes any mention of. I wouldn't be surprised if Zeltrax didn't even know, like, oh, this thing can separate into another thing. And I do think it's kind of cool that the centipede thing can separate itself into flying things that look like the Magnivore jet fighters from Beetleborgs. I don't know if that was specifically what it was supposed to be like, but that's what it reminds me of. The Ranger Wiki entry for this episode states that this episode is the only time the Brachiozord takes part in battle, which is a weird way to describe it getting tipped over. Like, it does breathe some misty stuff on the bad guys, but it doesn't really make any conceivable impact. Triassic mode is pretty inconvenient as a power-up as it leaves the others unmorphed. Trent, for some reason, doesn't help at all in this episode. I don't know why. He is there, but he never does anything. Is it because he's not in the Japanese footage? So shoot some new footage. He could have been helping Connor and Ethan pick up the thingamajig that Haley needed. I don't know, something. Instead, he's just at Haley's cyberspace all day. I think Kira should have gotten a heavier focus. Connor just really feels forced. He doesn't have much of a role, but he's still prominently featured just because he's the one who has the Triassic mode. Zeltrax is dead and stays dead for a few episodes. Good. I don't like Zeltrax. Okay, I don't know what else to say about the episode. It was an okay episode. Not the best, not the worst. It made some improvements on a previous concept, Diva in Distress, so it's cool for that, but overall, it's fine. So that's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. See ya.